And thank the Force, we're back Thursday night Star Wars News Net live. And just as I told Luke right before we got on here, I'm down to 0 friends again. My last friend left me. 0 friends again as I, asked Janelle to rewatch Skeleton Crew for the 50th time before we hopped on today. Unfortunately, I'll be flying solo for the foreseeable future, but it's okay because thankfully I will hopefully gain 2 friends this evening as I'm joined by Luke and Mr. Nate, the Skeleton crew here on Thursday night. Did we all have a great holiday season? Nate, I see that we have 2 nubs in the background today and a pork. So we added the pork.
We added the pork. I added the pork a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but the family behind me is growing. We'll see what additions
Will the
happen.
Vikings beat the Lions on Sunday?
God, I hope so.
Repping
the
Darnold.
team, slinging. He's slinging it all over the place right now, man. He is playing like Luke Skywalker himself, ready to take down the evil empire that is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Happy New Year to Oscar. Yes, Luke, how are we doing? Are you guys New Year's people? Like, are you like hyped for the new year? Do you enjoy looking onward to what is to come, making goals, resolutions for yourself, coming up with some key checkpoints, benchmarks to hit over the coming months, or are you over that?
No, I'm a big New Year's person. My family's always gone big for New Year's. We always meet up and have a big party.
Go big or go home.
This year, I went a little bit too big, and I did indeed go home. But hey, sometimes you get lost in the sauce, and you got to find your way out. To be quite honest, but you know what I did come out with?
Sounds like you're not like KB. You have friends. You have friends that got you home.
Got a new holographic here.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
That's pretty good.
I could sit and watch you do that for the entire live show. Honestly, I don't know if anyone else could. But I could probably just sit and watch that for about 45 minutes.
I'm trying to figure out where I want to put this. Somewhere around here. So
that's fantastic. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Manslayer agrees. He said that's awesome. So I got
Manslayer.
We have some Skeleton Crew to talk tonight. I'm super excited. It's been a couple weeks since I've been on the live show. We had no live show last week, and then I wasn't able to be on a couple weeks ago. So super exciting to be here this week because I feel like I haven't talked about Skeleton Crew in a long time. So I'm excited for us to dive into the world of Skeleton Crew. But first, I have 3 predictions for 2025.
Ooh.
3 predictions for 2025 for Star Wars. For 2025. These aren't, I don't think, like burning hot takes or anything, but these are just 3 predictions I would like to see happen in 2025 for our favorite franchise here. And I just want to get your thoughts on these before we begin. So 2025, we'll start with this one. Felicity Jones will return and reprise her role as Jyn Erso in Andor Season 2. She will be back. I'm not saying she's going to have a major role, like they're going to have some side story with showing how she ends up on Wobani, but we will see her. Even if it's just a brief shot at the end as they're going to go break her out, we will see her as Jyn Erso. Yes or no? Yes or no? Is my prediction for 2025 coming true?
I'm saying yes. It's coming true. Absolutely. She's going to receive something at the very end. Oh, so she's going to receive some crucial piece of information here at the 12th episode. Someone's going to turn and go, Jyn, what is that? She goes, hope. And that's how.
And her presence at Wobani. She's going to get hope on Wobani. I don't think she had much hope.
But I'm joking about that. I would love to see her back. I want that to be true. That is going to be true.
Mm-hmm. I hope so. If she's ever gonna be in something Star Wars again, this is the time right here. Nate, you think she's in or no?
Right now, I'm gonna say no, based solely on Tony Gilroy, words saying that the show is going to end right as Rogue One begins, which is when Andor has no idea who Jyn is. If he's lying, I would love for the show to end. From Cassian's point of view, just the flip side of Rogue One, where Jin is getting inside the transport, and there's all this stuff going around her, and then the big explosion, the door flies open. I think it'd be cool if Andor ends by showing Cassian's point of view of that, and then our final shot is Cassian laying eyes on Jin Erso. Cut to credits. That's how the show ends. I think that'd be cool, but for right now, I'm going to say no, but there is ways to bring her back. There are ways to bring her back. It's not crazy. It's definitely not crazy.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying she has a big role, because I know that
she kind of can't
with the stuff in Rebel Rising. I'm just saying like even a shot, like they just have like a shot.
There is a way to bring her back
like
with Saw Gerrera stuff.
Like I'm just saying, like, she's on Wobani, and she's laying there. Like it could just be from the day before. She's just there. You know what I mean? Like she's laying down. It's just a brief little 2 seconds. They brought her on for the day, and she just has like one line. Just something
Mon Mothma or Bail could be talking about her in some hologram that they hear. It's like, oh, there's this chick doing things over there. Maybe we need to watch her or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, even just a mention would be nice too, like a mention. Because there is the part in Rogue One where, Saw does say the reason he had to send her away or whatever is because she was too good, and people are going to start to question.
Yeah, right. And you know what? I want more of 2 tubes.
2 tubes.
Yep,
it's tubes.
2 tubes.
We need more benthic 2 tubes.
I'm so excited to watch Rogue One again. I haven't watched it since Andor came out. Like I'm
excited
to go see it in theaters.
I'm excited to do the full Andor rewatch and then lead right into Rogue One and then New Hope. I'm excited to do that. So I want to try and wait for that at this point. Now that we're only 4 months away from the show, but we'll see.
I just started my Andor rewatch. I got the breakouts, the Heist of Aldhani tomorrow that I'll watch, and then every Friday I watch. Like I'm gonna start watching like one episode, and then that'll leave me up a little bit. Nice little break. Then that's season solid. 2, and then straight into Rogue One. So prediction number 2. Star Wars will film another movie in 2025. We'll have 2 years in a row of Star Wars. On set, we're filming a movie. This one will not involve Jon Favreau, though. But Star Wars will film a movie. We'll get our acts together. Celebration's going to happen. They're going to be like, we're filming this year. We've got everything ready to go. Boom. We're going to be 2 years in a row with Star Wars filming a movie. And we'll have some, as Luke mentioned earlier, hope.
If that prediction feels like a safe bet at this point.
Really?
How much? I think you don't bet any money on it. We're still talking Star Wars and Lucasfilm in this day and age, but with how much they
won't bet on it.
But with how much they have in the pipeline and how much we've heard about some of the development of some of these films, James Mangold and Bo Willimon, allegedly they're close on having something to present to Lucasfilm in regards to a script. We know at least there's some concept of an idea of that Rey movie. Of course, actually, I don't know.
Plan.
Yeah. I don't know if Filoni's movie will get off the ground because of Ahsoka, but
yeah, I don't think that's going to happen this year.
No, I don't think so either. I think that'll probably be a 2026 shoot for that 2027 release. I think that's probably what they're aiming for with that one at this point. Right. But we'll see. I forget Filoni's shooting a movie half the time. I forget that movie is still coming. Like it feels like Mando and Grogu took the place of that. So I'm trying to wrap my head around because Filoni is so involved in that movie. So it's just weird. But this year, I feel like a movie will get in production because they still have because they have movie slots. So they have to make some progress on a movie.
I mean, they only have one for 26, and then 27 they supposed to have for 2,
and one for 20,
or one for 27, and one for 27. So they got to get something. But Luke, Star Wars movie, we're gonna have a Star Wars movie in 25. Is that gonna get filmed?
Not a chance. I'm joking. I'm absolutely joking. We are getting some filming happening in 2025. There's been too much talk about Rey from multiple different movie
there's just way too much
creative teams. So I think Daisy Ridley is going to get in front of a camera in 2025, and we're going to get her speaking some lines. Like, I think we're due. We've been saying this for the past couple of years for the Rey movie, but this feels like we have inched too close for it not to happen. Okay, I think we're at 2025. Rey,
let's just
is filming.
Let's just try not to fly too close to the sun here in our Star Wars movie excitement.
I think it's more, if it is a Rey project, who's going to be working with Rey? Because there's so many different filmmakers attached. That I think is the funner conversation to have. I think it's going to be Sean Levy too.
Yeah.
So this on Tuesday, I'll have a podcast coming out with Paul, and we were debating who's going to make their movie this year. And I feel like the Mangold film is kind of this dark horse. Like, if that's the one that's going to, hello Maple, the dark horse film to get the ground running this year. But for some reason, I just have this inkling that Sean Levy's going to get his movie up and going this year. Like, it's going to be like kind of a surprise, kind of everyone comes together and like, oh my gosh, like Sean Levy's dropped a picture on set today. Like, oh my goodness, like that's something that's actually going to happen.
I have a bit of fantasy that I just came up in my head that I want to pitch to you specifically, Tyler, because I know you'd be a fan of this. So I believe it was either at some point in the last couple of weeks, Jeff Snyder came out with a report for the Sean Levy movie that he was thinking about doing Rey, but there's also talk about the protagonists in that movie. One of them being a teenage male. He has worked with this person before. I can't remember the name of the movie, but Percy Jackson himself, Walker Scobell, teaming up with Daisy Ridley's Rey. Just imagine that for a second. That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome. Sean Levy and him have great. I know they're close. And I know Walker Scobell would love to be a part of Star Wars. So Sean Levy, let's make it happen. Come on. There's going to be a break in Percy Jackson shoots. Come on.
That would be incredible.
Let's do it.
That would be incredible. And we could just stick it to Miguel for the end of time forever, which would be the best part because he's such a Percy Jackson hater. So that would be the best part about this. Absolutely. No, I'm thinking about this now. Like Sean Levy, you get Walker Scobell, the young Jedi. Then you have Daisy Ridley coming back as Rey. You bring John Boyega in as well. And suddenly we're just off and going. Cooking. I do think so. Miguel and I were chatting about his prediction list from 24 and how we were joking because he went 0 for 10 on his 10 predictions for 24. And he self, admitted that he had some fun with some self-deprecating humor. But I think he was just a year early on a couple of them. John Boyega returning to Star Wars. I think that's one for 25 I feel really good about. That's not one of my predictions I was going to make here, but that's one that I feel really good about is I've been saying it for a long time. He's been posting more about Star Wars and seems to be coming around. There's reports that he's thinking a little bit more fondly. I think he's coming out. I think Celebration. I think there's going to be something at Celebration. I think
that'd
it's
be the
happening.
place. Announce the movie that they're going to actually do with John Boyega. Bring out Sean Levy. Bring out Walker Scobell. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
You forgot Daisy. We forgot Daisy, but she's back.
We all know she's coming back, but we need
she's coming back.
We need actual cast announcements. Come on.
Luke, how do you feel about all of this? Are you in a state of euphoria thinking about the idea of our prediction of John Boyega 100% coming back to Star Wars in 25?
That does excite me a lot. I really like John Boyega. So, Eric, I want to see him on screen as Finn.
As a Jedi.
And I think I am not alone as Jedi Finn. Yeah, that's a good question. I really don't have his schedule memorized, but
what's going on?
I love him. I really want him to come back and continue development with Rey's character. So I would love to have John Boyega on a Celebration stage. Get him there.
Yes. I would have fun with that. I love Nate's fan casting of Walker Scobell as the young Jedi. I would love that just because I love Percy Jackson. And then we bring in Daisy, Sean Levy, obviously riding high off Deadpool Wolverine. We're good.
What was the movie they did together? God damn it. Was it The Gray Project with Ryan Reynolds?
The Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
I mean, Ryan Gosling. Was it Ryan Gosling that was in that one? The Gray Man? No, it was Ryan Reynolds. No, Ryan Gosling was the Gray Man.
Yes, the Gray Man.
You're talking about the Netflix film?
No, it was.
Well, Nate's looking at that. I have one last prediction before we talk about Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, you do that. This is going to drive me crazy. I need to figure this out. I cannot remember what this movie was called.
So, Luke.
The Adam Project. That's right. The Adam Project.
There it is. Oh. There it is. So, Luke, I have a prediction for you about Luke. The next Star Wars animated show will feature Luke Skywalker. We're going to have a new show. We're going to have a new show in 25, a brand new show, 2025. We know this, that animation, they have to announce at least or drop something for Star Wars animation. They finished up the show last year. I don't think we're going to have anything in the first few months, but after Andor in the future, I think it makes sense to me that the next show is featured around Luke Skywalker. Like, we have absolutely no animated shows centered around like any of the original like big three of Luke, Leia, and Han, which feels kind of funny when you think about how much animated Star Wars this is. And of course, animation is this avenue for them to tell like other stories, in Star Wars and everything. But I will say, with all they've done in the comics and some of the ancillary work there, it makes sense maybe to do something here for this. I'm thinking either, the Luke Jedi Order, and it kind of follows everything post Return of the Jedi. Luke trying to build his Jedi Order. You can introduce Ben Solo. We see what Leia has to go through being in the Senate and how she's navigating maybe that. Or you could even, expedite that timeline a little more where it's after she's been outed as being Darth Vader's daughter in the Senate and she goes to start the resistance. And then you kind of, can even focus a little bit on Han returning to everything. And then ultimately maybe you bring it together to reach that, where Luke ends up secluding himself and the resistance and First Order really come to a head. I think that would be option one. Option two is you maybe just play it safe and you tell some of the stories inside the rebellion with Luke, Leia, and Han, and you just go full-fledged original trilogy animated series. Some people would think that that's, playing it too safe. We've seen so much of that era, but we've never really gotten an animated era, of that era, because when we see Star Wars Rebels is before A New Hope even happens. So most of the content that we have inside that era and the canon timeline, so to speak, don't necessarily involve Luke, Leia, and Han for the most part. I don't think they would go that route. I think it's much more likely they would do something else with Luke. But I have a feeling I think something's happening. I think we're gonna get Luke Skywalker. What do you guys think?
To your last point there about Luke, Han, and Leia in the original trilogy, there are so many comics
right
set with them. I don't know how you play around with that, especially if you set it between 5 and 6. I have no earthly idea, and I have no earthly idea how you set it between 4 and 5. In regards to the overall question, will Luke be in the next animated series? I'm going to say no, because as Oscar says, I have a feeling it's a clone-centered animated series. Do you really think Filoni is going to do something not in the Clone Wars era with those characters?
But he's not really in the animation stuff anymore. But he's the one greenlighting
it all. He's the one overseeing it all.
Right, but like he greenlights a ton of things now. He's a creative advisor in a lot of things. This is the torch has been of the animation empire has definitely been passed
for sure.
And if they were to try out another clone animated series, I don't know how you're selling people on another one.
I don't know how you're selling
Clone
people
Wars,
on
Bad Batch, and then we're gonna do another.
I don't know either. I don't know either. Don't get me wrong. What you're pitching, Luke's new Jedi Order, that's what I want to see. That's what I want. That's a story that needs to be told. Please, God, tell it. There's no excuses anymore. But I just don't know if they're gonna do it. I don't know. So I'm gonna say no
Mhm.
because I feel like they have an idea for something else, but that's what all the fans want. So hopefully they're listening to the fans, but we'll see. That would be another fun surprise at Celebration. Bring out Mark Hamill. Bring him on stage, saying he's going to be voicing Luke Skywalker. They'll probably have to do some post production work to probably de-age that voice a little bit because he's getting up there. But they could do that. That could be fun. I hope, but I just don't know if they have the guts to do it.
It would take some guts doing anything with Luke, Han, and Leia, but I would also argue that for them, even I don't think it would, and I guess this is maybe wrong considering the reactions from The Last Jedi and them taking some big chances on Luke-centric stories, but in the animated world, I don't think we see that level of reaction a lot of times when it comes to the animated shows. I think they might have a little bit more liberty to tell the stories that they want to tell in animation for the most part, just because of the idea of a smaller audience, maybe. But Luke, what do you think? Sheehan, not Skywalker.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Mark Hamill couldn't join us tonight.
We're both Luke S. So, I have some insane insight into this because we are of one mind, Mark Hamill and I. I'm saying yes, we're getting this, and it feels like a safe move because it's like, oh, it's Luke Skywalker, like most popular Star Wars character, safe. But there is also, like, you brought it up, like The Last Jedi was pretty Luke centric, and it didn't drive so much love for the film. Like, it still was kind of divisive. So it's not like a guaranteed success, but I would think it's pretty safe. So I'm saying, yes, I'm on board. This is what they're going to do. I think, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to decipher out what is just my wants versus what I really think Lucasfilm's going to do. So what that feels like is, like, we've done a lot of clone stuff. We've got 10 seasons of clones, 7 of Clone Wars, and 3 of Bad Batch. So it's like, yeah, like I think we're good. I think Bad Batch ended really well. So
For
I think
now,
we're good
for
with
now.
clones. We got a yes. I think
I'm
era is
open
maybe
to more clone stories at some point.
Yeah, so I would really,
I mean, we
I
could
really
tell
like your
more. I mean,
idea
obviously, we got
of
Omega going into the rebellion too, so like there's
exactly.
other
So
stories
there's stuff to do
available.
there. I really like post Bloodline, Claudia Gray's Bloodline, where Leia has left like the official Senate, and she is now
Right.
kickstarting the Resistance. I would love to see that era, that like 6-year era before The Force Awakens fleshed out in animation. Ooh, would I love that?
What if
Give me that.
I'm just gonna pitch you this. Let me pitch you this. The story starts, animated show begins with the Senate in session. Leia sitting in the audience. We're watching the Senate session via like a holo cam of Ben Solo sitting with his uncle Luke watching the Senate basically announce that Leia is the daughter of Darth Vader. And then they pan over and we get like an image of and we get an image of Han and Chewie seeing this, and it's being broadcast across the entire galaxy that, one of the heroes of the rebellion, the face in a lot of ways of a lot of the rebellion, Princess Leia, is the daughter of the most hated man in the galaxy. And that maybe kickstarts like the show, and you immediately have a little bit of tension built in, a little bit of suspense because of what's going to happen next. How is the galaxy going to respond further? I don't know. If they don't go this route with like a Luke, I have a feeling it's not going to be something clone. It's going to be something maybe we haven't really thought about or talked about very much. I'm sure someone out there has talked about it. I'm sure maybe we have mentioned it, but I also think that, when they announced the Bad Batch, I don't think anyone thought that the Bad Batch was going to be the future of Star Wars animation after the Clone Wars was going to wrap up. I don't think people were thinking that was going to happen. So they've shown they might do something a little bit out there, and you're kind of like, what? Are we really doing this? And then, it turns out to be a delight, which I thought the Bad Batch, as it went on, got better and better. So we'll see what happens. But
The Trace and
also say
Rafa
this.
series.
that might upset a few people.
That will break a lot of people.
Would break everyone.
Come on, Martinez
Break
sisters,
everyone.
let's go.
Would break everyone.
What about to set up Mando and Grogu a Road to the Hutt series?
To set up the Mandalorian and Grogu movie,
Yeah.
we just do the Road to the Hutt.
I'm in.
I'm actually kind of half serious about that pitch.
Stop. I
I'd be down.
It's just titled Rhoda.
I'd be down. Just a mini series of following Road to the Hutt around.
It's titled Stinky.
Why not?
I can think of a few reasons why not. Why
Stinky,
not.
a Star Wars story.
Let's go ahead and talk about episode.
Make it Lego based if you want.
That's fair.
Like have ridiculous amounts of fun with it if you really want. But I think that'd be a lot of fun to introduce people to that character that haven't seen him. You're trying
to sell it. I appreciate the sell. No worries. But let's go ahead, dive into episode 6 here of Skeleton Crew. Bryce Dallas Howard, in my opinion, has done it again. I am not glued to my seat with my eyes like unblinking, staring at the screen, but I'm enjoying the show. I think it's exactly what it's supposed to be. I will say that as the show goes on, I find myself like it's not necessarily I'm the target audience for the show, but I don't find myself eagerly waiting for Tuesday night, sitting down right when it comes out. Like I have to be in front of my screen. It's more of a, if I can't make it, I'm not going to inconvenience myself to get there versus I would inconvenience myself for other things of Star Wars that have dropped. But I have fun. Bryce Dallas Howard has never dropped something I have not thoroughly enjoyed when it comes to the Disney Plus era of streaming for Star Wars. Like she has absolutely delivered every single time we've gotten an episode from her. So from that standpoint, this one was great. I loved getting a slower paced episode with some smaller moments for our characters, the kids being back together. Wim and KB's moment was really touching to me. I loved getting to have the kids come together and have their little triumphant moment as a group. I thought that was needed. We got the character, development that we needed for them. I think we're ready to go for these last two. I just kind of hope they're like a jam-packed, a couple episodes of fun. But Luke, Nate, what was your high for episode 6? What was the high point for you when you were watching? What was the supreme moment?
Okay, for me, my high is Wim replacing the servos or the augs or what they were called in KB's the back of her head. I thought that was an incredibly powerful scene between the two. And honestly, I just related to Wim when he's kind of under duress and he has to do this technical work. Like I know that when my boss is behind my back and is like, "Hey, can you click on this for me?" and I'm like, and I'm fumbling around. That's me. I fumble around under pressure. Okay, so that's me, Wim. I'm there with you.
That's. I could see that. I could see that fumbling under pressure, Luke Sheehan. No, I couldn't see that, Luke, because you would never fumble under pressure. You
Not
would always
on the ultimate frisbee courts.
Oh my gosh, Nate. Luke has the greatest ultimate frisbee throw I have ever seen in my life. So this is like 6 years ago, right? This would be like 6 years ago.
It's a high bar because I think I have a pretty decent throw.
This is like 6.5, maybe 7 years ago. This is like about 3 weeks into me meeting Luke for the first time in college, and we're playing ultimate frisbee. It's a big match. We're tied. There's only a few minutes left, and he gets the frisbee, the disc, and fakes one way, and then goes sidearm throw around two people that were running at him to where it curves out of bounds back in the perfect back corner of the end zone where our player was standing. There's two people in front of him. He has to kind of reach up, and it went probably 40 yards at least. It was the greatest feat I've ever seen in person. And I once watched Russell Westbrook posterize Clint Capella over two other defenders in person as well. It was the greatest athletic feat of all time, and I will never forget. That was when I knew I had to be this guy's friend.
That was a good day.
That's pretty solid. But
anyway,
yeah, go ahead.
Nate, what's your high from the episode?
No, I was just gonna say, but can you repeat such a feat? That is the true
Oh,
mark
he
of.
could. He could. I've seen him make countless amazing throws. You just can't beat the first. You can't beat the first.
No.
Also, Luke, can you do some homework for us real quick? How, like, to verify?
So I looked
Stinky's
this up.
age?
There are conflicting pieces of information between what the Clone Wars series said and versus what was in Hyperspace Stories episode or issue 6. So some are saying that he would be 55 years old in the Clone Wars episode or movie, but also the comic would refer to him being just born. So it's a little weird, even in canon. In Legends, there's different.
Well, when is that Hyperspace Stories comic set?
Great question. I don't know.
Because I feel like that's set really early in the timeline, if my memory serves. I could be totally wrong, but
so it could point to that. I think that would point to like the answer of being like 55 years old, because like Jabba's like 680 something when he dies. So like Hutts live a long time. So it's kind of like Grogu. Like he could be like 50 years old and a baby. So 55-ish.
Or do Hutts grow faster but they just are adults longer? Who knows?
Could be.
I just did a quick Google of Hyperspace Stories 6. According to that, it places, according to Wikipedia, places the issue between 24 BBY and 22 BBY. So that places it a little bit before the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so 55, 60, 50 to 60 years old, and we're gonna hope that he's the jacked Hutt that we get in, like, you know.
So he's a moody, jacked teenager by the time we're gonna get to him. I
love it.
Mandalorian and Grogu. All the more reason we need an animated series seeing that growth.
I knew I shouldn't have brought up the comments again. Nate, what was your high from episode 6 of Skeleton Crew?
My high, you guys brought it up already. Bryce Dallas Howard, man. The moment I saw her name attached to this show, I got excited, and seeing her work in this episode, just immaculate. I'm not going to pretend that this episode was top tier Star Wars television. I don't think anyone is, but from what the scripts and John Watts and Christopher Ford were asking Bryce Dallas Howard to do in this episode, she nailed it. She was tasked with getting such deep and emotional performances out of these kids, and boy, did those kids nail it at every single moment. That sequence with KB and Wim, while Wim is helping KB, man, that's just some tense, really just subtle and understated acting from both of them. KB in that fugue state, man, she's so good. Kiriana Crater, the actress, props to you in this episode. You nailed it, but you don't nail it without a very good director. And Bryce Dallas Howard, she brought something out of those kids in this episode that I just really appreciated. Beyond that, a good director elevates the material they're given, and this script didn't have a whole lot going for it besides a few sequences, and she just brought this episode to another level. So I don't think anyone's going to remember this episode after this show finishes up, but as a watching experience, I think this episode is really important for the overall show.
You know what it reminded me of, and I want to echo what you just said about how the great director, she can't, see the script. She's not making all these rapid changes to a script. That's not her job. That's not what she's doing for this. It reminded me Mando season 1, episode 4, when they're on the planet where the ATST is there, and that script, there's not necessarily like a ton of these big dialogue sequences that are going to give you a lot. It's a lot of how do you talk to the people about how are they looking, what's the feel, what's the tone, just
Very
in
much so.
how everyone looks. And that episode is one of my favorite episodes of Mando, but it's not like I can't point to a specific line or specific moment where you would think, oh, that's the best. But for whatever reason, and I think
it sticks
a lot
with
of people that episode stuck with them moving on. And she has this gift in the Star Wars episodes that she's done where even if there's not a lot to maybe exist at the beginning, she's able to stretch that out. She's able to expand that in a way that really captivates the audience. And I just want to say that I absolutely would love for her to get a crack at a Star Wars movie, or at least maybe get a crack at being able to do something bigger than just a single episode of a series. Maybe give her more of a creative license to do what she wants for, multiple episodes or a mini series where she's kind of similar to what they did for Deborah Chow with Obi-Wan Kenobi. What if they were to maybe give her the reins to her own mini series or show?
I know you guys like Obi-Wan, but just give Bryce Dallas Howard better scripts, and we could have something really remarkable with a Bryce Dallas Howard show or a movie. I think, but it all comes down to scripts with her, I would think, but she can make anything out of nothing. So she has that gift. So if you give her something, God knows the possibilities of what she could do. So she's one of the best talents working in Star Wars right now.
Right.
And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Alejandro, greetings from Orlando. So you're just down south from me, but greetings from Orlando. And yes, I agree with this comment here we have from Manslayer. Her episodes always show a lot of heart, nice moments for characters. And that was my high, too, was just seeing there was I try. Okay, let me rephrase this, because I don't try that hard at this, because I do relate some of these moments back to my job as a teacher or a coach or whatever. And there was that moment KB was talking about how it's difficult for her sometimes to voice that, she is different and there are things that she cannot do. And I think about how difficult that is for a lot of kids to be willing to even say that they're different, or willing
that's the moment I've been waiting
do that
with that character. Like I've been waiting for that moment.
And that just meant a lot to me. I'm thinking about some conversations I've had with students who have been going through stuff, and they bring that out, or even players in basketball I'm coaching, and we're talking about, different things. And sometimes you have no idea as teacher, coach. I have no idea they're actually going through these things, but there's something there. And to have her and Wim have that moment. And I think my favorite part of all of that was when she said that she wouldn't have any friends again, and Wim just kind of not really realizing what she was saying, like in terms of how much that probably hurt her to even admit that. But him being able to just say, well, that's stupid. You're just be friends with me and Neil. And
that's
then he
such a kid thing to say, and it's beautiful. Kids are so endearing, man, when they're like that. Like, these kids are so good.
It just for him to be like, be friends with me and Neil. And he runs off, and you just see what that meant to her, even though he was just thinking that, like, oh, it's be friends. But to see that meant the world to her, to know that if for whatever reason she can't be friends with Fern anymore, she's not alone in this universe. She's different, but she's not alone. And I loved every aspect of that.
Yeah, I think that's something I've really loved about this show so far, is that they've kind of nailed kids. Like they are not acting too mature for their age, or not mature enough. They're not making decisions that kids wouldn't be able to make. Like, I feel like they've really nailed the childlike mindset of, I'm in a new universe. I don't know what's going on. I'm not supposed to. I'm going to make this decision. I don't know that this lightsaber is upside down. Oh, you're not going to have any friends? You should be friends with me. Like, things are a little bit oversimplified for them, and that's how kids see the world. And so I really appreciated what they did behind the scenes. I don't know how they got that onto paper, but they did. And I'm really glad that they did. Like, I think that's been a really big highlight for me.
Yeah. Even in things like Wim, as soon as they see the little trash crab speaking to them, he's like, oh, they're like sentient, they're intelligent species, and we can follow them. And he's just talking nonsense in my eyes. He has no idea what he's talking about. But for a kid, they know nothing, and it's just so charming. So I love that little bit of just obviously knowing that what are you doing, but they don't know any better, and it's just so awesome to see.
And then on the flip side, you see Fern kind of realize that as they're climbing up, and Neil talking to her, where she jerry rigs the rope. Did we have a low for this episode though? And again, like the low can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be, some harsh analytical criticism of anything. It could just be, you know what? The little baby crabs rubbed me the wrong way. I don't care. It could be whatever. It could be whatever you want it to be.
I think the low for me, and I hate to keep harping on it because everyone does. I just wish these episodes weren't so gosh dang short. This was the shortest episode of the show besides the second episode, but the second one doesn't really count because it was part of the first episode. So to see another extremely short episode like this late in the season, it kind of sucked because I just want to spend more time with these characters. And if that is the biggest problem with the show is I want more of it, I'm okay with that at the end of the day. And I'm okay with that. Some of the writing and dialogue is whatever, but whatever. I'm not going to criticize.
It's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. What do you want? Like we're not winning Oscars here. We're not winning Emmys. Like, what do you want?
Not this show. I know another show that's going to come out this year it's going to win an Emmy. It's going to happen. Yeah. I'm manifesting. Yeah. I'm manifesting the Andor Emmy win.
That's crazy. I kind of forgot it was 2025. Like, that is this year. That's crazy.
I would have to look, but I don't know what else is on that level that could compete with Andor, because last time around there was House of the Dragon. Last of Us season 2 is going to be one of Andor's big competitions. And
Stranger Things 5.
Stranger Things, that's another one. So I wouldn't put money on it, but it's possible. It's possible.
It's gonna be a good year for TV. It's gonna be a good year for TV. So my low for me, or sorry, Luke, I guess. Luke, you're low.
Maybe something Jod related. It's weird because like he's getting told like you're gonna get to walk the plank if you don't like straighten this out. But for some reason, him screwing over those kids made me go, I want him to get in more trouble. I want the stakes to be worse for him. I think he got off a little easy with getting that equal time. And it's like, oh, that's kind of noble of the pirates to do that. But I was like, I think they should be a little harsher on him. They're pirates.
Pirates don't care.
Should be meaner.
Pirates don't care. They only know money. Brutus, of course, he wants top brass, but everyone else is going to follow the path that gives him the most money. It's the Hondo and Nala trick.
Yes.
Which maybe we'll still see Hondo at the end of the series. I don't know.
My low for the episode, no Hondo.
Hondo is the supervisor.
Hey,
anyone?
Stop.
Anyone?
Stop.
Rhoda. Stinky's the supervisor.
That's how he's getting introduced into the world again, is being the supervisor. I honestly am not entirely that far off from Luke. I think my low for the episode was I would have liked to have seen maybe just a little bit more from Jod and that area before he kind of wins him over, so to speak, to get him to go over to Aden. But it did feel a little bit like when Jack Sparrow trying to convince everyone to go do his own thing, but Barbossa and in the first one he's like, I'm still the captain here. And if this doesn't work out, we're gonna kill you. And there was a level though of I was sitting there with Luke, like I would have liked to see a little bit more before they just kind of fall in line. But it kind of speaks to the low of Nate, which is when you have episodes of this length, I would rather spend the majority of my time with the kids here and have those little small moments with Neil and Fern and KB and Wim especially than have to, have some of that cut out just to fit some more time with the pirates. I freaking love Brutus though. I love that pirate.
So good.
He's so cool.
Oh, I need more Brutus, man. I don't know who voices him, but God, that character is so cool.
I want him to have just a total badass moment in one of these last 2 episodes where it's pretty. He just
John
takes
is gonna
some
cut
carnage.
his head off with that lightsaber, and it's going to break me inside.
It's gonna break you inside. Nate says, "I really just want this whole show to end with Brutus sitting atop the supervisor's throne of
Why
Adams."
not? Let's go! Come on, Brutus. Win the day, Brutus. Come on. Let's go, bud.
The pirate song. The pirate song was pretty
Speaking
fun.
of
The pirate song.
And going off with what you guys were saying, I do agree. I feel like we used more Jod in this episode solely because of the heel turn last week.
Mm-hmm.
To really to what his mindset is beyond just wanting treasure. Because before we saw him bond with the kids more, so it's like we could.
I'm thinking his whole mindset is he just wants the treasure. Like I think that's his whole mindset. And then if it gets flipped, it's just because at the end he chooses to save the kids and lets the quote unquote the treasure fall away, or he
totally still is everyone. He totally still is saving the kids at the end of this show. I guarantee it. But but for right now, it's like I wish we would have gotten a little bit more to flesh out that specific arc. But I feel like next episode is the one where we're going to get that before the finale. I just would have liked it a little bit more here.
Mm-hmm. Or did the kids save him? And they teach him a lesson.
That's not a bad call. The kids save him, then Jod saves them from Brutus by cutting off his head with a lightsaber.
I can see it. And then now Vane is the leader of the pirate couple.
Decapitation, traumatize the kids. Show ends.
And Wendell kills all the pirates.
Decapitation. The only decapitating that would traumatize like the kids, like you mean the kids in the show or the kids watching?
All of them.
All of them would be the kids themselves getting decapitated in the show. Like that's the only thing I know is like that would traumatize. We've lost Nate. We have lost Nate. He's one of the kids dies and it's Neil. I'm gonna lose it. Can you imagine the look on his little brother's face if that were to happen? Where do you think this is? Do you think we're going to add Atten in the next episode, or you think we're gonna wait to get there till the finale?
I don't know what's gonna happen in episode 7. That's a little hard for me to predict, but I do get this feeling that we're not going to go to Atten in episode 7. I think it's going to wait until the finale.
What are they going to do in episode 7 then?
That's the thing. I'm really not sure, but I kind of just
don't
expect them. I know, right?
There's nothing stopping either the pirates from going there or the kids going there. So there has to be
Star Wars. There's plenty of things that they could.
There always is, but I don't know. The only thing I could see is maybe some New Republic side adventure that prevents the kids from going there. Maybe we see the pirates go there and wreak havoc on Atten. And then in the last episode, it's the New Republic and the kids going in to save the day. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm wondering if we're just not going to see the New Republic at all. And we've all been thinking we might get some New Republic and something like that might happen. There might be a cameo. I just wonder if we are just going to end up with a story where they all go back. They see the destruction wreaked by the pirates. And maybe
Brutus
the pirates
is sitting
are
in the throne.
Yeah, they've rounded up the family. They've rounded up the people on the planet.
Season 2 is that Brutus series. Let's go. Come on.
and the kids are the only ones free. And the kids are having to try to infiltrate and break everyone out and be the heroes of the day. Like the kids are having to do that. And like 7 kind of sets up what the pirates get there and they start maybe torturing people for information, trying to get all that. Oh my gosh, Oscar! If they do if they pull an Acolyte and the episode before the finale is just a flashback of
it's titled
John
Night
stuff, I'm
There was, I forget where
the lowest rated
I
Star Wars episode was that episode.
Jude Law did an interview a few weeks back where he said that episode 7 was the one where we would get more of his backstory. So that's the only thing. He didn't say it. He teased or he heavily implied that episode 7 would be the one. So we're probably going to get some backstory before his character. That's the only thing that I don't know from there.
So who's the directors for the last 2? Is it Lee Isaac Chung and
then John Watts? Actually, no, John Watts was just the first 2. Actually, no, John Watts was 1, and then David Lowery did 2.
So
I believe John Watts is doing the finale.
He is.
Yeah, John Watts has the finale. Yep.
Okay.
So
giant.
And to me, that implies a big action episode because he just did Twisters. So
that's what I was thinking too, but we'll see.
But he also did Minari, which is a very not action movie.
So, any final predictions for next week before we get out of here? Are we feeling pretty good? I'm feeling good.
Feeling pretty good.
I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Jod's backstory. I think we're gonna start seeing the seeds of Jod's redemption next week because that's just the Star Wars thing. Whatever his backstory may be, Order 66 survivor. We're all pretty confident he is some sort of former Jedi or Force sensitive, right? At this point, clearly he brought the lightsaber to his hand. Clearly he has some Force abilities. Is that safe to say?
There's something going on there. There's something going on there.
Something going on there.
Can you imagine if they pull another Order 66 flashback on us?
Oh, I really don't want it.
I don't think there's any
Keller
way
and Beck saved him too.
I say to it. We've said so many already at this point. It's not original, but I mean, it's a good way to get sympathy for the character. So I could see them doing it. Beyond that, I do think we will see at next week. Soon because there's nothing stopping the Pirates, nothing at all. The kids you could throw on a one last detour, but as far as the Pirates, they got to get back that end. We'll see the parents do something as well, man. We got to see those parents actually step up and try to
Undersecretary Farah in action.
They've been this series, all people like, Lord. To be fair to them, they have so little screen time, so of course they're useless. But we need something from these people, and I feel like next week could be the big coming out moment. So hopefully.
No, this show's for kids. The parents, they're going to be useless for the most part, and that's just the way it's going to be. Luke, where's your any final prediction for you?
I don't think I have anything crazy specific for you, but I feel like what episode 6 did was set up, hopefully, a finale that's kind of like a 2-parter. I want episode 7 to feel like part 1 of the finale and not just like the penultimate. Here's episode 7. Now episode 8 is where we close everything off. I want to get some closure. I want to get feeling of a finale in episode 7. I want it to feel like a extended finale. So I would like to see, if we're going to do John backstory, I would like to see all of it and feel confident that in 8, like we're already headed toward redemption. I don't want too much weight to be left on episode 8. Maybe because of the Acolyte, but that's kind of where I'm at.
We don't want to leave next week and think, oh my goodness, everything is
still so much
hinged on the next 30 minutes of show. No, that makes sense.
So
of these shows, they have to wrap up some stories to make their lives easier in the finale. Thankfully, this show doesn't have that much going on compared to the Acolyte and some other shows. So
Well, thank you everyone for hopping on. Please go ahead and like and subscribe before you get out of here. Please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify as well, so that way we can keep doing some podcasts every single week. Luke and I will have another episode of the Timeline Show out this weekend. We will also have a 2025 podcast looking to 2025 podcast out on Monday or Tuesday that I did with Paul. And we're going to have a great time this year talking about Star Wars. We will take Manslayer's final question to round it out. What do you guys will or could be the big connection of the story with the overall big story of the Mandoverse? Does the New Republic begin to print a lot of money on that? And there's like big inflation. I don't think this is going to be really that all connected to the Mandoverse, everything. I think this is going to kind of be its own thing. We're going to jive, and that's kind of it. If anything, I think it could be like a seed planting thing, and they kind of bring up this incident later on in something. Like they could use this as a launch point to just connect something. But I don't think we're going to be looking back in Filoni's movie and watching that going, oh yeah, that happened at during Skeleton Crew. If anything, it might just be some sort of dialogue that doesn't take you out of the movie if you haven't seen Skeleton Crew, but if you have seen Skeleton Crew, you might be like, "Oh, I'm aware of that happening." I don't think it's gonna have that big of a role, though.
The only ties that I possibly think of are the New Republic and what could be the consequences bringing the Old Republic back into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
If what happened at the end of the show brings the New Republic into the mix and realizes, oh, there's some weird things going on here.
Mm-hmm.
What spins out of that? I think that could tell some future stories, but in terms of the immediate Mandoverse, yeah, I don't know. But there are a world of stories to come out of this show, no matter what you do, because of that Old Republic tie. So we'll see.
We'll see. It's going to be a good time. Luke, anything else to add to that? Or
just to keep it real quick, I do agree with you, Tyler, that it's probably going to be a very minimal tie-in. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but there's going to be something in episode 8 only, kind of toward the end, where it's like, by the way, this is still connected to Mandoverse. Here's your little connector. Right. So it's not going to be an overarching. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be something small, but it will exist. It will be there. It will give you back Mandoverse. It's not going to be big. So,
well, that'll do it for us. I will close out today by saying I just finished rereading The Rising Storm yet again, and for the second time. And oh my goodness, the ending is just it hits so hard every time I think about it. When I went back, I read it again, second time reading through it. Yeah, that's the most brutal ending in Star Wars for me in terms of the books. So anyway,
also I've been doing a KB impression. Would you like to see it?
Yes. You should do the whole episode like that next week.
She's not smiling though. KB's not smiling though.
Yeah, it's not smiling. Yeah. No emotions.
There we go.
No emotions. Perfect. There it is. Very good. Very good.
That's pretty good, right?
For Light and Life, everyone, remember that we are all the Republic.